All right, J.D. Vance started some controversy this week by saying something obviously correct in an interview. Here he is talking about the hierarchy of love, the order of people that we are called to love and prioritize in our lives. Let's listen to that.
But there's this old school, and I think it's a very Christian concept, by the way, that you love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your own country. And then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world. A lot of the far left has completely inverted that. They seem to hate the citizens of their own country and care more about people outside their own borders. That is no way to run a society. And I think the profound difference that Donald Trump brings to the leadership of this country is the simple concept, America first. It doesn't mean you hate anybody else. It means that you have leadership. And President Trump has been very clear about this, that puts the interests of American citizens first. In the same way that the British Prime Minister should care about Brits and the French should care about the French, we have an American president who cares primarily about Americans, and that's a very welcome change.
What is President Xi doing? What is Vladimir Putin
He's looking after the Chinese. Putin is looking after the Russians. They're entitled to do that. Thank God we now have an American president who's looking after the citizens of his own country.
It really is amazing in all the best ways that we have a vice president who talks about the principles of subsidiarity, which is what this is. To have a vice president who actually says interesting, insightful things. When was the last time we had that? I mean, not in my lifetime, certainly. The vice president has always just been, in my lifetime, a blabbering bore. So here we have someone saying things that are true and interesting. The point is, again, obviously correct, which means just as obviously that people are upset about it. So this was trending on social media, a bunch of people on the left saying that J.D. Vance's philosophy on love is cruel and bad and in contradiction to the gospel. Because, of course, a bunch of secular atheists really care about the gospel and know about it, so we should listen to them. But the point itself feels almost pointless to defend because it is so clearly, obviously, self-evidently true. Obviously, you're meant to love your family, your spouse, and your children first and foremost, and prioritize them. And you're supposed to love your nation before the nations of the world. Human society is built on this system. It's how every human being is naturally wired. Our legal system is built on it. Right? Which is why if you're fed and warm and comfortable and your child dies of starvation and exposure, you will go to prison forever, and you should. But if a homeless guy across town dies of starvation and exposure, you're not going to go to prison. You'll be sad if you find out about it, but you're not going to go to prison for that. Nor should you, because the law recognizes that you have a special obligation to make sure that your children don't starve. You do not have a specific legal obligation to make sure that the homeless guy across town doesn't starve. And in fact, if you had to choose between the two, you choose your own children 1,000 times out of 1,000.